Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Satyajit Pattnaik and we are back with another part of Microsoft Fabric. 2 weeks back, we made an announcement about our new playlist, which is Microsoft Fabric and its integration with Power BI, which basically is going to help you in the journey of your data analytics learning. In case you are a data analyst or working as a Power BI developer or a Power BI analyst, then this particular series of videos is definitely going to help you, because Fabric is one of the newest tools in the market. I would not say it's completely new. It was launched 1.5 years back, but honestly speaking, this is one of the tools that has been used by multiple companies these days, as it is a unified data analytics platform and it has multiple services in it. So definitely learning Fabric is going to add values to your profile. So this is part 2. And in this video, we are going to talk about creating your organization account so that you can get started learning about Fabric, because I don't want people to just watch videos. I want you all to practice on the go while learning from my video. Second, we will be creating workspaces to get started with. And third, we are going to talk about Lakehouse architectures. What is Lakehouse? Why do we use Lakehouses? How do we create Lakehouses in Fabric? How do we integrate that with Power BI as a data source? All of these things will be taught in this video. There are multiple other videos that is going to be a part of this beautiful playlist. In case you want these videos to come up on my channel as soon as possible, what I need from you is comment as much as you can. Try to appreciate. If you like the video, write down a comment. Share it with your friends as much as you can. Like this video and subscribe the channel. Let's get started with the next part of Microsoft Fabric. See you in the video. Hi. Before we jump into the next part about Fabric, how to get started with Fabric, how to ingest data into Fabric, how to build lakehouses, how to connect Fabric to Power BI, etc., etc., the most important topic is going to be access. Many of my students have raised this concern while I was doing videos on Power BI. Most of them practiced everything on Power BI desktop. Majorly on the Power BI service, they faced a lot of issues. Now, the same issue will still be there in Fabric. How do we sort that problem? Well, I'm not going to talk about any unethical hacks, which is against Microsoft policies. I'm going to talk about a very ethical solution and a very, I would say, cost-effective solution on how to fix this problem. Now, before that, let's try to go ahead and create a Fabric account from our Gmail ID. Let's say I'm going for app.fabric.microsoft.com, and let's say I'm going to apply with my email ID. Let's say this is my wife's email ID, doesn't matter. I'm just showing you that it will not work. And then we will try to solve this problem. Pick one square that shows two identical objects. Wow, I'm very bad at this, but yeah, this is one. And verification complete. And yeah, I knew this. So looks like a personal email address. Email, enter your work address, right? So even if you use Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook, anything will not work. You need a work address to access to Microsoft Fabric. Now, people who are already working in companies, they might already have their organization account. They can quickly go to Fabric and create an account. But what about students? Now, there is a hack for students. Let me try to show you the hack. Just go to Google and go to GoDaddy. Okay, once you go to GoDaddy, let's say my name is Satyajit Pattnaik, everybody knows that. Search with your name and it will do a domain search against your name on multiple addresses, right? .co, blah blah blah, and you can see that .com is also available, right? And the cost is 0.01 Hong Kong dollars, which is less than 1 rupee. Now, what you can do is, you can do the same for your name. Take the cheapest possible option and you will be the owner of this domain. Once you're owner of this domain, you just have to simply go to Zoho Mail, click here, and here it will be able to ask you to create sign up. Just provide your name and email address. Your email address should be well, this is something I forgot. Let's say I want to create organization in Zoho Mail. Now organization email settings, log into Zoho Mail. It has given a proper guideline, Zoho Mail admin console. And this is where you need to sign up. So just sign up. Wow. Back then it was not chargeable. I think now they have made it chargeable. I mean, okay, anyways, this is just an option. I mean, I cannot help with that. You have to pay something. The idea here is, just after you own this domain, you can actually create a mail address based on this domain, which basically means if your website is satyajit.pattnaik.com, you just have to create a mail server. Either you can create it in Google, I think Google also allows, or you can create it in Zoho and just add any name. Let's say admin@satyajitpattnaik.com. Now you can use this email address, because this is not a Gmail or a Yahoo mail address. This is an organization email. You can use this email address to create an account in Microsoft Fabric. Now I'm not going to do a detailed step on this, but I have given you ideas on how to do this. Just follow these steps. Try to Google out how to do the setup for the mail part. This part is very simple. Just go to GoDaddy and create. This part is little bit difficult, but trust me, it's not that difficult. And once your account is ready, just create your Fabric account. By default, you will be given like a 60 days trial period. So mine was created few days back, so I still have 19 days, but this is how it is, right? Now once your account is created, then we will move on to the next topics in the next video. Hi, let's get into the next part. Let's get started with Microsoft Fabric, right? Our Fabric is already up and running. I have already logged into my organization account. I am sure that all of you might already be logged into your own organization accounts. For those who do not have organization account, I think just be satisfied with what is being taught, and there is no room of practicing, which is fine. But yeah, just focus on this video. The very first thing that I want to do is to get started with creating a workspace. Either you can create it here, or you directly go to workspaces and create a workspace here, right? Let's try and create a new workspace. Let's say we'll call it as Fabric tutorial, right? And description, let's give Fabric tutorial. There is no assignee. Workspace image is non-mandatory. If you want to upload anything, you can always upload whatever you feel like. And then advanced, as we are just doing some trials, I'm going to use the trial account and click on apply. Once clicking on apply, our workspace is ready. Now for those who might be thinking, is this workspace same as Power BI service? The answer is yes. If you go to app.powerbi.com, you will also be able to see the exact workspace available here, Fabric tutorial, right? So nothing is changing. Workspace is like a global thing which is inside Microsoft. It has nothing to do with Fabric or Power BI, right? I'm just going to teach you how to get started with Fabric. So I have created workspace in Fabric, right? Once your workspace is created, I think everybody knows about these things. I'm just going to talk about little bit about the managing access part. In case you want to provide accesses, let's say I'm going to give access to let's say contact@𝐓𝐢𝐦𝐞𝐋𝐢𝐧𝐞, which is another account of my company. We are not able to find. Let's say I'm going to add, let's say contact@𝐓𝐢𝐴nalytics.com. Yeah, we are able to find. And if you want to add, you can provide whatever roles that you want to give, you can add it, right? I'm not going to repeat all of these things. These are very, very basic things which are already a part of Power BI. Admin is like somebody who has access to everything. You can create workspaces, delete workspaces, add people, remove people. Members are basically coming under admin, so members can add contributors, add viewers, remove them, but they cannot add or remove an admin, right? Contributors and viewers, they do not have the access to add anybody, but contributor has like a edit access to this workspace, and viewer is like the viewer, they can only see what's happening, right? Once you give the necessary permissions here, add, this user will be able to be added to this workspace. If this user logs in, they will also be able to see the exact same workspace fabric tutorial under their account, right? I'm going to remove them for now because uh, let's remove them and we are good. Apart from that, there are various other workspace settings. You can go ahead and check it out. There is nothing too important to talk about these things, so let's stick to the plan. Let's not stretch out the videos a lot, right? So our account is ready, workspace is ready. Next thing is going to be getting started with the workspace, right? If you click on plus new item, now before that I want to show you Power BI desktop. In Power BI desktop, let's say you want to connect fabric, right? If you go back to Miro, this was previously done, right? Nowadays we will be using fabric, right? That means fabric account needs to be added in Power BI, right? So let's try to find where is that. Let's go to get data, click on more, and you can see fabric is already here. Inside fabric, there are multiple ways of connecting the tables or the data, from semantic models, data flows, data marts, warehouses, lakehouses, KQL databases, metric sets, SQL databases, and I'm going to talk about not all of them, but the major ones, right? So, but let's say I want to connect to a lake house. Let's say I click on lake house and click on connect. Well, I will be able to see something, but there is no lake house created on my fabric yet, right? So if you, even if you go and connect, you will not be able to see anything. So lake house is visible, and that is because of account. Yeah, you can see here I have logged into my official account, the current company that I'm working in Hong Kong, and here I am logged into my 𝐓𝐢𝐻 Analytics account. So let me log into my 𝐓𝐢𝐻 Analytics account. 𝐓𝐢𝐻 Analytics password is, I don't remember. Wow. Okay, I remember. I thought I forgot. So yeah, if you, now I'm logged into my 𝐓𝐢𝐻 Analytics account. Now if I go to my fabric and click on Lakehouses Connect, there is nothing, right? And that's because there is no lake house created here. We have not created anything, right? So in order to get access, you need to create it on fabric. So for now, Power BI is not going to be used. Let's focus on how to create lake houses and various other things on fabric, and eventually once that is done, we will be showing you how to connect that on Power BI. So we are back to fabric, so we will be talking about this part. If you go to plus new item, you will be able to see all of these options. So whatever you are seeing here, right, let's say lake house, data flows, blah blah blah, you will be able to find everything here. Lake house is available, and KQL is available, KQL query set. Data flows are available, gen 1, gen 2, warehouses are available. All of these things are already available, right? They are just waiting for us to create and get started, right? So we will be creating some of them in this module. So let's get started with that in the next video. Hi, welcome back. Let's get started with one of these data sources. Let's start with, well, my personal favorite is Lakehouse. So let's start with a Lakehouse. Now, to create a Lakehouse, it's very simple. You just have to click on new item, go to Lakehouse and click on this. And let's just give a name. Let's say I'm going to give the Lakehouse, and Lakehouse schema public preview is not required. Let's try to create it. Once the Lakehouse is created, I will be able to see that here. You can see obviously there are no tables or no files. Lakehouse is created, but we don't have any data right now, right? Now, before we upload data or before we add data, let's try to talk a little bit about Lakehouse, right? Many of you might be expecting me to talk about Lakehouse, and here we are. Let's talk about Lakehouse. Okay, what is a Lakehouse? Lakehouse comes from two different keywords, which is data lake and a data warehouse. Okay, now let's try to understand a little bit about data warehouse and data lake, and then we will jump into Lakehouse, right? Lakehouse is not a pretty new concept. It's already there in the market since quite a long time. Let's try to understand it in a very simple way, right? I was watching couple of YouTube videos on how to explain you in a layman's term, and I got through a IBM video on YouTube. They have explained really well, and I'm just going to explain the same thing to you, right? So let's try to talk about an example, right? Forget about Lakehouse, data lake, and data warehouses, right? Just focus on one particular example that I'm going to talk about. Let's say I'm going to start a restaurant, right? Now, in order to start a restaurant, what do you need? You need multiple things, right? You need infra, right? Infra as in what all things you need to build that restaurant, right? Imagine that your restaurant is already ready. You have rented it out, right? Now you want to run your restaurant. Definitely you need chef, you need waiters and blah blah blah. But to run your kitchen, what you need is different ingredients, right? So let's try to talk about those things. So for example, to run a kitchen, you would need ingredients, right? And of course, you would be needing raw ingredients, right? Now, the raw ingredients could be in a different format, right? They could be spices, they could be vegetables, fruits, etc. There could be meat, right? You could also need meat. It could be in frozen and fresh format. Some of them will be frozen, some of them will be fresh. You also need various other things like cutleries and utensils and various other things, right? Now let's cut short to the raw ingredients and the food part, right? Imagine you need all of these food materials on a daily basis or like a weekly basis. Let's say a truck is going to deliver all of these things to you, right? Let's say there is a truck, and the truck is going to deliver all of these raw ingredients to you, right? On a daily basis. Let's talk about daily basis. Now, once the delivery is here, right? Let's say you will be needing a huge loading rack, and loading rack will take all of these ingredients here, and you would definitely need to label these ingredients, right? So labeling these ingredients is very much important, and sorting them is also very much important, right? Sorting them means sorting the labels, right? Which one of them is a frozen meat, which one of them is a raw ingredient, which one of them is a spices, which one of them is vegetables, pickles, fruits, various things are there, right? Now once you label and sort them, what you do is you have multiple fridge and multiple containers, right? You eventually put your vegetables, your fruits, and meat and everything to your refrigerator. I'm writing down as refrigerator, and here you have containers, and there are multiple containers, right? So eventually what you have here is data sources. Data is coming in different format. Now the very first thing is you are loading everything to a space which is like a loading rack, and from that space you are moving to the next part where you are structuring them and storing them in an individual container, right? You could also think about how do we place these ingredients. Some of the ingredients will have expiry date will be nearer, some of them expiry date will be further. So based on that, a lot of things will be done here, and eventually you will be storing your data in a structured format, stored per category, right? Every ingredient, every raw material will have a requirement of different temperatures, right? So they need to be stored faster, right? So this example is pretty much the same that we do in data industries, right? To minimize, what is our end goal here when we are talking about the restaurant, right? The end goal is to minimize food waste and to minimize spoilage, right? Spoilage basically means while the ingredients are transferred from the truck to the carriage, or to from the carriage to the different containers, you should avoid the spoilage, right? That means spoilage here is basically nothing but your data leakage. And minimize food waste, that means your food should not be wasted. That means your data should be available to whoever the users are. Data availability, right? Now if you give a chef, that chef, if you want to prepare chicken curry or let's say veg curry, will you give the access to to this particular location, or you give the access to this one? I would prefer this one, right? Top priority. Because if the chef directly goes to this one, the chef will go crazy. They will not be able to understand where the items are. They will not be able to identify what to pick, what not to pick. A lot of time will be gone. So it's not recommended, right? So recommendation is to use this, right? Now without these, right, can a chef cook? No, right? A lot of time will be gone in finding the right ingredients. Now why I was talking about this example with respect to restaurants, the example is completely resonating with the data architectures. Whenever we are working in an organization, you might have data coming from different data sources, right? Your some of your data might be coming from some ERP systems, some of your data might be coming from flat files, some of them are coming in form of JSON, some of them are coming from various other platforms, right? Multiple data is coming in. So traditionally what we used to do is we used to dump everything to a storage location which we used to call data lakes. right? And so data lakes is nothing but a storage of raw data. It is a combination of structured data, semi structured data, and unstructured data. So data lakes are a combination of structured data, semi structured data, and unstructured data. And then what we used to do is we used to create something called as an enterprise data warehouse. I will write it down as enterprise data warehouse. See, you don't have to worry about all of these things because this is predominantly the work of a data engineer, right? Your task is just give me the access to the data source and I'm good, bro, right? So this is nothing but clean data. Clean data. And from this clean data, you are giving access to your BI team for your dashboarding, right? You are giving access to your AI team for your whatever task they want to do. Of course, AI team or ML team, they sometimes they also get data directly from the raw, but yeah, both the ways is possible. And you also give access to analytical team for other analytical work, right? BI team is just focused on the dashboarding part, right? Now let's try to talk about data lakes. If I talk about data lakes, there are some advantages, there are some disadvantages. Data lakes, you can directly feed everything to data lake, right? So it's effective. For sure, data lake is an effective solution, but it is very, very costly. Cost is high. I will try to write it down again. Cost is high. There are some other challenges with data lakes, such as, let me try to write down everything here. Some of the challenges with data lakes are the data governance is also a concern. There is no such ownership here because data is coming directly to the data lakes, getting dumped. Nobody is going to be the owner of individual data, right? Let's say this is your sales data, let's say this is your finance data, everything is dumped here, right? So ownership will not be there, data governance will not be there, data quality will also not be there, right? This can basically be a data swamp. What do you mean by a swamp? You can Google it out. In Hindi we call kachara, right? So swamp basically means like a pile of things. What is a swamp? Swamp is basically like everything is accumulated at one place, right? What is a swamp? Let's say swamp meaning is an area of low lying uncultivated ground where water collects, a bog or marsh. Wow, very technical, but in simple terms it's like everything is in one place, right? It's like, I would not say kachra, like not a dustbin, but you can imagine, right? Everything is accumulated at one place. It's like a data swamp, right? Now, of course, I will see it as a negative because why data swamp is a negative thing? Because of multiple aspects, right? There will be duplicates, could be, right? There could be duplicates, there could be inaccurate data because nobody is governing it, right? You have just written down scripts to push everything from these sources to data lakes, so data might not be accurate as well. There are also challenges with query performance. Query performance is also low, and then there are problems to get insights from data lake directly as well. Now talking about data warehouse, right? Um, Data warehouse, I would say that with respect to query performance, which is this part, query performance is better than for sure data lakes, right? But another problem is, sorry, my bad. I would like to apologize that data lakes are not costly. Data lakes are cost effective. They are low on cost, right? Data warehouse is high on cost. So cost is going to be very, very high. Query performance is better, but cost is very, very high. You can imagine this as your big fridges, right? The refrigerators that you have, and they are very super expensive, right? If you have multiple refrigerators, then you can imagine how costly it is going to be. Another thing is data governance is good. So the DG is good. The data quality is good. So this part, yes, good. And of course, the last point is going to be unified support, and it supports unstructured, semi-structured data as well. So if you combine the good part of both data lakes and data warehouses, data lakes is cost effective, and data warehouse is good with data governance, data quality. If you take both of their good qualities and you want to have a kid who is having a good quality of a data lake and data warehouse, that is basically called as Lakehouse. Now, data lakehouse, or you can simply call it as a lakehouse, is flexible, cost effective, performance is good, and it's a structured uh, way of storing data. Now, with the recent advances in AI, where we have to process unstructured data like text data, images data, video data, audio data, in that case data warehouse is not optimized for such kind of data. Like these days every company is also analyzing their social media data, textual data, audio data, images data. So data warehouse is definitely not a good solution, and that is where data lakehouse comes into picture. Now, talking about how to get started with lakehouse. Before going into the practicals part on how to create how to create a lake house, I was talking about this thing, right? When it comes to, I mean, I'm just specifically talking about 2025, right? Nowadays we have data coming from, apart from our traditional JSON, flat files, whatever data we had. Nowadays we have multiple data like textual data, right? We have audio data, we have video data, we have images, and many more, right? So if we have all of these kind of things, usually if you ask a data engineer, boss, give me a solution, I have all of these data in my organization, how do we create our data pipeline? Normally a data engineer, what they will do is they will suggest you to create a data lake. Let's have a data lake for some of these systems, and we can have multiple data warehouses, and we can also have some other systems. Other systems basically includes your streaming data and time series data and image databases, right? If you want to store your images, it cannot be stored in data lake or data warehouses, right? Now in this setup, if you have multiple things, right, it's going to be more and more complex and of course costly, right? Complex and costly, and this is where the solution is going to be Lakehouse. I personally like Lakehouse a lot. I have used Lakehouse solutions for many of the companies. I have done setups for many banking and insurance companies as well. So yeah, I mean Lakehouse is blindly one of the best solutions that we have right now in the engineering space. Well, a lot of things taught in this video might not be very much applicable to Power BI users, but I am pretty much sure that at least if you are on zero level right now, you must have some confidence in understanding what data lake, data warehouse, and a lake house is, right? Let's jump into the creation of lake house in the next video. Hi. Before jumping into the practicals of Fabric Lakehouse on how to create Lakehouse, how to get started with using Lakehouse's connections in Power BI, let's try to talk about the typical Lakehouse architecture. So a typical Lakehouse architecture looks like this. Let's say here you have multiple types of data sources, and when I talk about data sources, it could be anything, right? It could be uh, different type of files, Excel sheets, JSON objects, or could be your MySQL database, Oracle database, ERP systems. It could be anything, right? So this is basically your data source layer. From your data source, what you're doing is you are creating an ingestion layer, and you have something like this, right? Let's say we call it as pipelines and data flows. So let's say this is your pipeline and data flows, right? And this is your ingestion layer. What is ingestion? Ingestion is the way you are ingesting the data into something. From the ingestion layer, you're typically going ahead and trying to create a lake house here. Okay, now this is your lake house. Okay, I will write it down as transformation and store. Transformation and store. So all types of transformation, whatever it is, let's say data cleaning, removal of deduplication, whatever type of transformation you want to do, and then you can eventually store your data into your lakehouse. Further, the transformations can also be done directly from your different type of notebooks. Let's say here you have different type of notebooks, and let's say you have some data flows. Okay, these are data flows and notebooks. Now these and these are different, okay, I mean, right? And then you are eventually storing everything in your lakehouse. Now from here, what's happening is you have two different connections. One could be a direct lake connection, and direct lake connection is going to be on your Power BI. So this is your Power BI, right? For your visualization purpose, I will write it down as consume, because here you are going to consume the data, right? And then here, let's say you create SQL endpoints or SQL endpoints, and SQL endpoints you can create for your reporting and visualization tools. Now you must be thinking that I already talked about Power BI. What are these visualization tools? Imagine you are not using Power BI, right? If you are using Power BI, of course we will be going ahead with the direct lake connection, because that is most recommended. If you are not using Power BI, let's say you're using Tableau or any other things, you can simply create SQL endpoints, and how to create that I will let you know. So to repeat, data sources, ingestion, transformation and store, and then comes the consume, and this is typically a lake house architecture. Now before we practically show you how to create lake houses, you must be thinking that in an organization, do we create one lake house or do we create multiple lake houses? So I'm going to take an example. Let's say we are working for a bank, right? And just for naming convention, I'm just giving example. Let's say I'm working for Morgan Stanley, right? Now in Morgan Stanley, let's say there are 6 or 7 different teams. Let's say we will take 6 teams. Let's say we have 6 teams, and that includes, one of them could be your BI team, one of them could be your data science team, one of them could be your visualization team, any other team, right? There are 6 different teams that eventually need access to the data. Now one typical solution is, of course, you create one lakehouse and give access to the entire lakehouse to all the teams. Another solution is you create 6 lakehouses and give access to different lakehouse to a different team, right? Now it depends from company to company, it depends from use case to use case. As a Power BI developer, as we are focusing more on the Power BI side, we should not worry about these things because this is something done by a data engineer, right? As a Power BI developer, I'm not responsible to manage these lake houses or manage these workspaces. So it's the task of a data engineer to do these kind of activities. So eventually in the next video or in the coming videos, we are going to show you how to create lake houses, how to work with KQL databases, how to work with data flows, etc, etc. But that is just for the purpose of letting you know about how to get started with Fabric with Power BI. In reality, as I told you, data engineers are the ones who are responsible for creating this. If you are coming from the BI team or the data analytics team, you just go to the data engineer, tell them this is what we need, and then they will be analyzing and creating a workspace for you, and they will be giving access to whatever data they have, or they create a new lake house where you can directly work with lake houses, right? So next video we shall be talking about how to create a lake house and how to get started with it. Hi, welcome back. Let's try to get into Fabric. In the meanwhile, I'm also going to open my Power BI desktop so that eventually we will be using the connection to Power BI and show you how to connect Power BI from using Lakehouse connection, right? So to create a Lakehouse, click on plus new item. You will see a lot of things here. Again, repeating once again, we are not responsible for creating these things. This is just for demonstration purpose. In reality, it's the responsibility of the data engineer. So the workspace is also created by them, and all of these connections are also created by them. In certain companies where they don't have data engineers, yes, you will be responsible for creating it, but the scenario of this is very minimal. Usually in companies they have data engineers, right? So let's try to create a lakehouse connection. Lakehouse, I'm going to give a name to this. Oh, I already created a lakehouse in the last class, right? In one of the previous classes. So you can see the lakehouse is already created. If you want to delete and create once again, it's okay. But okay, let's try to create this. Let's try to delete this and create it once again. So just delete it, right? Let's start fresh. Everything is deleted, and let me refresh. Everything is gone, right? Nothing is here. Let's try to create a lakehouse from scratch. Lakehouse, just give a name to it. Imagine you are working for the BI team, just give a name. Let's say the lakehouse. This is not mandatory, just create. Lakehouse name is already in use. Okay, something is wrong. I don't see that, so I will try to create it again. The lakehouse. Let's try to refresh the page. Sometimes it happens because it might get stored in your cache memory or something like that. Let's give this name LH1. Okay, So my LH1 is nothing but my Lakehouse 1. My Lakehouse is ready. You can see multiple things here, tables and files, but nothing is available right now. Either what you can do is you can either create a data flow connection using which you can onboard the data to Lakehouse, or you can create a new data pipeline. To get started with, let's start with uploading files. Okay, so I have two demo files with me, which is one of them is churn modeling and one of them is sales data. Let's try to use one of them. Let's go for sales data, right? So here I'm going to add the sales data. Overwrite if files already exist, no need because there is no file. I'm going to upload it. So sales.csv is uploaded. I will remove it, and you will see that it should be visible in the files, but I have to refresh. Oh, yeah, I can see sales.csv. Right now, what you can see is the data is in file. If you want to open this data in a preview mode, you can open it. You will not be able to edit it. Okay, if you want to edit something, you can see cannot edit. So this is not editable, right? Close it. Now what you need to do is you need to onboard this data into a table, right? So how do we do that? Load to tables. Let's say we will be creating a new table, and I'm going to give this table name, let's say sales order, or let's say just orders. Okay, and here it's asking for use header for column names. Separator is comma. Load it. A problem occurred. What is the problem? Invalid column names. Total unit cost. Column names must contain UTF-8 encoded Unicode word characters and can be of maximum 128 characters. Okay, let's try to see what's wrong with this file. Total unit cost. Okay, total unit cost. Where is that total unit cost? Yeah, this one is total unit cost. Should not be a problem here. Let's try to load it. Loading is done. I have removed the header, but let's see how it goes. If there is some problem, we'll try to fix it up. So the data is getting loaded to LH1 Lakehouse in the orders table. So the table is ready. Oh, it shouldn't really take a lot of time. Why it's taking a lot of time? Should be okay. Everything is good actually. Why it's taking a lot of time? Yeah, we have this right now. The only problem is properties. The only problem is with the headers, right? Let me try to delete this and try to recreate with headers. Again, we will be loading it to a new table. Let's say orders table, use headers for column names. Okay, let's say I'm going to give a column name as SL number. Okay, let's try to create some upload file, sales. My data is uploaded. Now I have serial number. Let's say I'm going to load it to a table. orders. Something is wrong. Column invalid. So this could be an encoding problem. I understand that. While while pushing the CSV file to a table in Fabric Lakehouse, I get this error. This is an encoding issue, I believe, but yeah, this is what it is telling. Replace the spaces in the column names with underscores. That could be a problem. That is what I identified. It could be one of the problems, but let's try to solve it. And this should be a part of my data cleaning before the data goes into Lakehouse, but it's fine. Let's say I'm going to give a serial number, order date, customer channel, product. Okay, let's say total unit cost, state, county, state name, region, lat long, budget, profit, everything else is fine. Okay, let's try to save it. Yes, and then I will go and upload this file again. Okay, now I have this file. I'm going to load it to a new table. I'm giving it as orders, load, and it's working. Yeah, that was the problem. Anyways, we have ChatGPT to help us. So once this data is loaded to our table, you can see the data is loaded. It's still loading the preview. In the meanwhile, while it is loading, as we already have the data, let's try to go ahead to Power BI and get started with the Lakehouse connection. I'm going to go with the blank report. Here I'm going to go for Fabric, Lakehouse, Connect. I'm able to connect. I'm able to connect just because of this ID, right? I already have logged in from the same ID here and here, so that's why we are able to connect. But where do we have, why it's not coming? Let me try to close and open Power BI once again. Okay, data, Microsoft Fabric, Lakehouse, connect, something is wrong. Yeah, we already have this. Let's try to connect from a SQL endpoint maybe. So let's try to close this again and open. I already have the latest version of Power BI, so should not be a big problem. If this does not work, we'll try to go for the OneLake catalog maybe. Here, let's say we are connecting, and then let's say I'm connecting through a SQL endpoint. Yeah, now it is asking for logging, and then I should be able to create a connection. Here we have the new table orders, and then yeah, maybe because of authentication it was not allowing the direct connect, which is fine. Use the SQL endpoint, but we don't have to pass anything, right? Automatically it has identified the login, and we are able to see the preview data, and you can directly load it. So that's the first thing that we can do. Import and direct query, I think everybody knows the differences between them. Import is nothing but it's not live. Direct query is live, right? So it's up to you, whichever connection you want to choose, you can choose and get started with it. So it will take a couple of seconds and my data will be available on the right hand side of the panel. Okay, so data is available. If you just want to get started with some visuals, let's say I want to show you the budget. Yes, the sum of budget is 45.63 billion. If you want to do some call out values, I don't want displays, you can change it to none, and you will be able to see the original values, thousands or millions, right? So something like that. If you want to see the number of records, how many records do we have, take the customer name, or maybe where is the order number, and take the count of it, and call out value, change it to none. You can see there are 64104 records. And I'm not going to teach you how Power BI works. I'm not going to teach you how to get started with working on bar charts and all those things, because in this module we are focusing more on the connections part, on the fabric part, right? So but just for the sake of people, we can just quickly do a simple bar chart. Let's say I want to have channel, and let's say I want to show the profit per channel. This is what we can do. And then if you want to change it to this bar, we can do that. And if you want to change or give some values or something like that, you can add the data labels. And if you want to change the type of the data, it shouldn't show in billion or something like that, you can change the value here to none. Or maybe if you want to make it like sorry, my bad, and data labels, go to values. Instead of none, if you want to show it in thousands, you can show it in thousands, right? So that is how you get started working with a lake house. Now if in this lake house you want to add more files, more data flows, whatever you want to add, you will still be able to see whenever you create or get data here using Microsoft Fabric Lakehouse connection. You will be able to see your lakehouse, and you will be able to get that data, whatever data you want to get, right? Your lakehouse might have thousands of tables or thousands of files. Whatever data you want on Power BI, you can easily get it on Power BI. That's it. Now in case your data engineer wants to restrict access to this table, they just want to give you like instead of full access, maybe they just want to give you like 10 records or 20 records. Those kind of configurations are also possible, but again, that is something up to the data engineer. You shouldn't worry about those things, right? That's all about Lakehouse connection. In the next video, we shall be talking about how to work with KQL database, which is very important.